Hey guys, backyard scrapping here. Well, here we are with part 2 of Full Push Metals contact refined. So we got the contacts out here. I've actually got about 100 mils of distilled water sitting on a little warmer up there getting warm because it is pretty cold out here. I'm going to go ahead and get us 100 mils of nitric acid to start with. It may take a little bit more. I figured about 115 milliliters, but we're just going to get 100 out for right now. And do be careful if you mess with this stuff. I don't suggest that you do, unless you unless you really know what you're doing. I got a frog in my throat today, and I hate these bottles. I do not know why they put such nasty stuff in bottles that it's so hard to pour it out of. But anyway, so we, as you can see, we got about 100 mils of nitric acid there. I'm going to set it back to the side. I don't want to get that to spill on nothing. I'm going to go ahead and put our big jug up. When our distilled water gets just a touch warmer, we'll go ahead and add this stuff in, and we'll be ready to go. So we'll be back at you in just a few minutes. Alrighty guys, well, we're back. Our water's got pretty warmed up. So I'm going to go ahead and set that off over here, and it is pretty cool out here today. So I'm going to have to end up probably doing this on the burner or on the warmer just to keep the action going because it is cool out here. So we're going to go ahead and dump the contacts in there. I think we had 77.64 grams or something along those lines. 77 grams anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and get those in there. I'm going to add a little bit of nitric right here. And then we'll set her up on the burner and go from there. Put in about 25 mils of nitric. We're getting a pretty much instant reaction like I thought we would. So I'm going to go ahead and set this in front of the little blower fan out here, and we'll just let her go. We'll get back at you in a little bit. Okay guys, well, we're about 15-20 minutes into this reaction. It's going pretty good. It's slowed down a little bit. So what I am going to go ahead and do is take this off and add us a touch more of nitric acid. Probably, let's say about another 20 mils or so. And this is hot, so now when it's hot, it's time for it to really be careful because this stuff could just blow right out of this container if you put too much in at one time. Let me get my towel. And yeah, instantly we've got some more reaction again, so we still have quite a bit of material to dissolve in there. We're just going to go ahead and let it do its thing. And always remember, nitric acid, silver, wear your gloves or your hands will look just like that if you get it on them. It will stain you black as coal, and it'll last a long time. So we're just going to let that continue to react, and we'll be right back at you here in a little bit. Okay guys, about another 15 or 20 minutes has gone by. As you can see, we're getting a little bit of NOx in there now. But we're still having a good reaction. I think about half of our material has dissolved. So I was just giving you a little quick update on it. We're going to let it go till it slows to almost nothing, and then I will look and see how much junk we got in the bottom there and try to determine if we need to add any more nitric or not. But we still have a pretty good reaction going, so we're just going to let it play out, and we'll get back to you in a little bit. Okay guys, it's been about another half an hour or so. We're still having a pretty good reaction. I do, however, want to take a look at what's in here. See what's left. We've got kind of a weird little, almost rusty looking color in there. Still have quite a bit of metal. I don't know if you can see that in there, but you see we still have quite a lot of metal in there, so I'm kind of guesstimating that some of these are just heavy tungsten plate. We are also ending up with a little powder similar to the powder from Dr. Z, so that must be a common thing with these type of contacts. But like I said, we still are having a reaction, so I am going to let it go. I'm going to add a touch more nitric acid, not too much. If it doesn't perk up, then we know that we got quite a bit of tungsten in there. So let's let that heat up and see what happens. Yeah, she's perking up a little bit, so we still have some silver in there. So, as always, we're just going to let it go. That's one thing about this. This is just something you can't rush. It does what it's going to do when it wants to do it. Okay guys, we're back again. I'm just going to add a little bit of distilled water to this, just in case we're getting saturated, and I just want to make sure that that silver that's coming off of these has a place to go, because we still have some action going on. So we're actually going to rinse this down a little bit, give it a little bit of water so it's got somewhere to go, just in case. We're still getting a pretty fair little reaction. I mean, it's not blowing out of the container, but we'll just let her go. Alrighty, back at you in a bit. Okay guys, well, we're still having a fairly good reaction. I still see a lot of bubbles coming up in there. It's clearing up a little bit, but it is really getting cold out here right now, so I am going to just call it a night, leave this sit on the burner overnight, let it finish out, and then in the morning we'll check it, see if we'll put a little bit more nitric acid in it, see if there's any reaction. If there's not, we'll drop a little piece of pure silver in there and see if that reacts, and then we'll know whatever's left in the bottom there is not going to dissolve. So I am going to go inside where it's nice and warm, and we will pick this up again in the morning. So okay guys, I waited till about, I don't know, I guess it's about 1 o'clock. It was just too cold out here this morning. I'm seeing a little bit of bubbles in there. It's cleared up pretty good, but there's still a ton of material in the bottom of this. So what I'm going to do, I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's quite a bit left in there. So I'm going to go ahead and filter this off once and rinse those off and see what we have left, because there's some powder in there too. And then we'll get back at you. So we'll be back in just a sec. Okay guys, what we're going to do is we're going to filter this off. I'm going to try and pour it off as steady as I can, slowly. To leave as much of that residue in the bottom as I can. So this is probably going to take a little while. I may cut this, I don't know yet. guys, we're back, and once again I have come across a powder from doing contacts that I have absolutely no idea what it is. Kind of like Dr. Z's stuff, it's a little different in color. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and filter this through this stainless steel and get these contacts cleaned out. And then I'm going to try to get all this powder into a filter and see if I can't ascertain what it is. It looks like the stuff from Dr. Z's, but it looks different from the stuff from Dr. Z's. Get over here so you can see that. I don't know. See that? That's all contact stuff that didn't dissolve, and that darker material I know is tungsten. So we're just going to have to see what we ended up with out of this when we're all done. Okay guys, so what I did was I took and I rinsed those remaining contacts that were in the bottom that haven't dissolved, and I got all that gray powder off of them, which seems to block some of the reaction or whatever. It's the stuff, it looks almost the same as the stuff from Dr. Z's, the powder that just won't dissolve. So in any case, what I did was I put these back in, put a little bit more distilled water, and then added a little bit of nitric acid to it, and we are getting a little bit of a reaction again, so I'm just going to go ahead and let that work again. Maybe we'll get rid of some more of that powder, see if we dissolve any more of these contacts. I didn't separate out what I know to be tungsten. I'm just going to leave it, but we'll go ahead and let this work for a while and see if we can pull any more silver off of these. So we will get back at you after a while. Okay guys, this has been working for 10 or so minutes, and as you can see, that is quite red, and I have never had that with contacts. So it's possible, again, palladium, platinum, I don't know. We're just going to have to let it work its way through and see what we end up with. I may take that little batch there and keep it separate and try and put a little zinc in it and see if we get any black powder out of it. So we'll just have to let it ride and see what happens. Alrighty guys, while we try to figure out what's going on with that, I'm going to go ahead and show you that this is still filtering that powder that was left over. So we're going to let that continue to filter out. That we already filtered once. I know that that contains silver. I tested it, so I'm going to go ahead and get set up and drop the silver out of that. I'm going to go ahead and filter it one more time. You don't have to watch that because it takes forever. But then I'm going to go ahead and get this set up and go ahead and drop that silver. And then we'll probably, after I'm off work again next week, we'll try and figure out what's going on with that stuff. So anyway, we'll get right back at you as soon as I get this drop set up. Yeah, this is a very, very, very strange bunch of contacts here. That's all I got to say, because there's a lot of nitric left in there and it was not doing anything. Then we put it over in the other stuff and it does something else, but that's all part of it. That's why I said you never know what's going to happen or what you're going to get until you're done. Okay guys, we are ready to drop this silver out of this, and then we're going to hang on to the fluid after that and do a few more experiments, but we're going to go ahead and get the silver out of this stuff. See how much we got so far. Then I'll have another little batch that we can do, but I'm going to let this run and I can time lapse it later on and we'll see what happens. Alrighty, just have fun watching. Okay guys, I have absolutely no idea what is going on here. This looks like a palladium drop with zinc. Something very strange going on. I have never had this happen with contacts before. I mean, that jar is almost slam full. And I see silver in it, but it does literally look like I just dropped palladium with zinc with this. Look at that sludge. Can you see that? I mean, we've got no room for nothing in here. It's just a complete sludge. This is what I'm talking about. You never know what's going to happen. And we definitely have something else in here besides silver. Okay guys, I just wanted to give you a quick look at this again, because as it stands, I have no idea what that is. That is from, I've never seen that happen before. I mean, it literally looks like when you try to precipitate palladium with zinc. It's very light, it's very fluffy. If I move it, all of it moves. It's not like silver. I mean, I can see silver in it, but what the rest of that is, I have no idea. I took a little of the rinse water here and put some HCl in it to see, and it definitely has silver in it. So I'm going to let that settle out. You know, I mean, the white is silver chloride, but when we put that copper in there, everything just instantly turned black, and it filled the jar. I mean, it literally filled the jar with that fluffy gray-black precipitant. And I have never seen that before. So I don't know if that is palladium. I don't know if it's something else. I don't know what these contacts came from. But I'm going to let this settle till it completely settles out. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and filter. Probably I'll siphon that top off and then filter the bottom. Then I'm going to hit it with some salt water and see if I can drop out just the rest of the silver and try to figure out what that powder is. I mean, hey, it's going to be great once again if it's palladium, but I've just never seen that happen before, so I have no idea what that is. I mean, I've had, you know, silver come out a little dark or whatever, but this was not silver coming out like that. I mean, there was silver in it, but that's not silver. I don't know what it is. So I have to let this settle, so we're going to just call it quits, probably till Sunday or Monday when I'm off again. So, and this is the powder that's still filtering out from the first batch, which is the one up on the shelf, and that's what I tested for silver right there. So there is still silver in that, but anyway, like I said, I'll get back at you when I can when I can have the time to mess with this again. Alrighty, have a good one. We'll see you, well, I'll see you in a few seconds. You'll see me, or this stuff will see me in a few days. Alrighty guys, we'll see you later.